spiritual gumbo, back to the basics, the flood, and what happens after the flood, understanding the setting now. The earth has changed. All vegetation has been wiped off of it. All life has been wiped off of it. The animals have been forced to be among each other. So there is within the clean animals a miscongeniation of of genetics for sure, which is why there's different variants of these animals. Same for the dirty animals or the unclean animals, excuse me. Uh, and this goes for reptiles. This goes for the unclean and clean birds of the sky. This goes for the beast of the earth, clean and unclean cattle. This it so it encompasses really the way that these things would have taken place. But we're just going to read, and we're going to read the time period of how long all this took, and we will understand it. Verse 23 of the 7th chapter. And God blotted out every offspring which was upon the face of the earth, both man and beast, and reptiles, and birds of the sky. And they were blotted out from the earth. And Noah was left alone, and those with him in the ark. And the water was raised over the earth in 150 days. Now go ahead and stop right there. If you do the quick math, 40 plus 150, okay, all right, it's 190. So we're at 6 months and 10 days, okay, bang, bang. And God remembered Noah and all the wild beasts and all the cattle and all the birds and all the reptiles that creep, as many as were with him in the ark. And God brought a wind upon the earth, and the water stayed, and the fountains of the deep were closed up, and the floodgates of heaven and the rain from heaven was withheld. And the water subsided and went off the earth. And 150 days, and after 150 days, the water was diminished. And the ark rested in the 7th month. Listen, in the 7th month, on the 27th day of the month, in the mountains of Ararat. Now, what's so significant to this is that we have to go back real quickly, and it tells us that in the what day? It's right here. In the 600th year of the life of Noah, this is verse 11 of chapter 7, the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, all the fountains of the abyss were broken up. Okay, so listen. That's the 2nd month. Okay, on the 27th day, right? Now, what's about to get everybody's mind is this right here, is that this is telling us that the solar day of 364 days each month is indicative. So if it's 5, so 3 times 5 is 150, right? It was 15, but it's 150. So if there's, let's do the quick counting real fast. So the 40 days is encompassed in the 150 days. if we're doing the math right. Because it says on the 7th month and the 27th day, which is 5 months. So, and it says that the water was raised over the earth 150 days. So excuse me, that's right, that is 5 months. I'm thinking 180 days. I don't know why I was thinking 180 days at first. Oh, that's right, because I added the 40 days to it. So incorrectly I added the 40 days to it, or covering whichever end of it. However, it tells us right here that it's the 5th month, so the 40 days is encompassed with this. So there's 40 days of it raining, and it includes the 40 days of the water being on the earth those days. But if you exclude those days, there's really 110 days, so just shy of 4 months of the water being all on the earth. And the reason why I want to get to this is because this is when sharks or animals of the sea, I just have to say, become carnivorous. You know, there's no indication that they were like this before, and the only idea is that there was no vegetation to fall into the water and feed all of them. I would believe that there was an abundance of vegetation, and the giants caused for it to be depleted. Now we're just going to read right here. And I'm sorry I had to do all that, but that was very necessary. We're going to start at verse 3. No, we're going to start at verse 4, and we're going to carry on. And the water continued to decrease until the 10th month. Okay? And in the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the heads of the mountains were seen. And it came to pass, after 40 days, Noah opened the window on the ark which he had made. So, unless this is all in the 10th month, now we're in the 11th month, and a little part into that, right? And he sent forth a raven, and it went forth, and returned not until the water was dried from off the earth. So the raven didn't come back until the water was dried up. And he sent a dove after it, to see if the water had ceased from off the earth. And the dove, having not found rest on her feet, returned to him in the ark, because the water was on all the face of the earth. And he stretched forth out his hand, and took her, and brought her to himself into the ark. And having waited yet 7 other days, he again sent forth the dove from the ark. And the dove returned to him in the evening, and had a leaf of olive, a sprig in her mouth. And Noah knew that the water had ceased from off the earth. This dude's so smart, man. It's so crazy. And it came to pass, verse 13, in the 601st year of the life of Noah, in the 1st month, on the 1st day of the month, the water subsided from off the earth. And Noah opened the covering of the ark which he had made, and he saw that water had subsided from the face of the earth. And in the 2nd month, the earth was dried on the 27th day of the month. Peculiar. And the Lord God spoke to Noah, saying, Come out of the ark, thou and thy wife and thy sons wives with thee, and all the wild beasts, as many as are with thee, and all flesh, both of birds and beasts, and every reptile moving upon the earth. Bring forth with thee, and increase ye, and multiply upon the earth. And Noah came forth with his sons and his wife, and Noah came forth with his wife and his sons wives with them. And all the wild beasts, and all the cattle, and every bird, and every reptile creeping upon the earth after their kind, came forth out of the ark. Stop right there, because this next part is epic, and we'll get to it in the next one. I just want to elaborate what this took place. So a year goes by. This man Noah has an entire year's worth of food saved up and stocked up to not only feed himself, but all of these animals. Can you dig it? It really is a feat to really be appreciated and looked at as arguably the greatest logistical effort ever outside of the Exodus. Even before, but this is way before the Exodus. Anyway, back to y'all later. Spiritual Gumbo out.